Thank you, Wendell. Good evening. We begin tonight's regional news in Venezuela. Venezuelan authorities' treatment of approximately 100,000 citizens returning from other countries in many cases is abusive and is likely to amplify transmission of COVID-19. Human Rights Watch and the Johns Hopkins University's Centers for Public Health and Human Rights and for the Humanitarian Health said on Monday. Foreign Affairs ministers from Latin American countries scheduled to meet online the week of October 19, 2020, as part of the Quito process should urgently address the returnees' situation. Tens of thousands of Venezuelans, most of whom were living in other Latin American countries, are returning to Venezuela because of the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic impact. Human Rights Watch and the Johns Hopkins Centers found overcrowded and unsanitary quarantine centers for people returning with little access to food, water, or medical care. Some who protested the conditions were threatened with arrest. And due to the COVID-19 testing delays and an unnecessarily elaborate testing protocol, many people have been quarantined for weeks longer than the 14 days recommended by the World Health Organization. Since 2014, more than 5 million Venezuelans left their country, fleeing a continuing human rights, humanitarian, political, and economic crisis. But COVID-19 related lockdowns in other Latin American countries left many Venezuelans who had been working in informal economies unable to afford food and rent. On June 11, Nicolas Maduro said that his government will continue to receive all Venezuelans who return with love. Yet, the government had repeatedly stigmatized returnees, accusing them of bringing the virus to Venezuela. We turn to some international news coming out of Queens, New York. The newborn baby found outside a Queens home Sunday was allegedly thrown from a bathroom window by his mother, who just given birth and now faces charges, police said. The baby boy, who also suffered hypothermia, remained in critical but stable condition on Monday, cops said. He was discovered with his umbilical cord still attached outside a home on 126th Street in South Ozone Park around 10:15 a.m. on Sunday and taken to the Cohen Children's Medical Center. Investigators determined that the infant's 23-year-old mother, Sabita Dukram, a Guyanese, gave birth in the bathroom, then allegedly tossed the baby out the bathroom window, officials said. She underwent a psychological evaluation at a hospital, police sources said. She was hit with several charges. Those charges include attempted murder, attempted manslaughter, assault, reckless endangerment, tampering with physical evidence, abandonment of child, and acting in a manner to injure a child, police said. A next-door neighbor said Monday that she knows the baby's mother but didn't notice she was pregnant. And finally, some PAHO news. Health workers have since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic been disproportionately affected by the virus. But WHO said Tuesday their high infection levels had finally begun to subside. While the coronavirus crisis has taken a heavy toll overall, data from many countries and regions show that healthcare workers have been infected at a far higher rate than the general population. Health workers represent less than 3% of the population in most countries, but have accounted for around 40% of all COVID-19 cases reported to the WHO. And in some countries, they have accounted for over a third of cases. But the UN Health Agency said analysis of reported data from 83 countries, mainly in Europe and the Americas, now show that there has been a substantial decline in health workers' infection since the beginning of the pandemic. That has brought us to the end of tonight's regional news. Thank you for watching, and back to you, Wendell.